Hey y'all, it's J Rhymes here. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you don't know me, my name is J Rhymes. Just like you are you, I am me. And just like I'm me, you are you. Right now, I'm in this situation where I feel like I'm in a pressure cooker, bro. And usually, like, when you feel like you're in a pressure cooker in life, nothing's going the way you want it to. Everything feels stagnant. Everything feels depleting. Everything feels draining, confusing. You don't know if you're coming or going or whatever. It can feel daunting on the mind. Like you have to make something happen right now. Like you need to make it happen right now. And I feel like I'm at that point where I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that uneasy feeling that I don't like. And I felt this feeling before, but it's a little bit more intense when you're by yourself or you're changing direction, you're changing courses of your life. You know, transformation is bound to happen. So it's not really being scared of transformation. It's more like just going with the flow. But sometimes it can be hard to go with the flow because you feel like, or at least for me, like I don't know what steps I need to take. I've always been very independent and very to myself, like introverted my whole life. There was a time in my life where I was like more extroverted, but I think that as I gotten older, I started to see who people really are. And so that kind of made me like closed off. And right now, like I'm trying to find stability. Like I never really had stability. I never really had like, structure in my life. I had to create that structure within myself to get to where I wanted to be. And so now I'm learning that, you put too much structure onto yourself, you start to not have fun with life and you start to critique every little move you make, start to judge everybody because you're so hard on yourself. And my therapist always used to say, I'm hard on myself. Everybody used to tell me that all the time, but it's like, if I'm not hard on myself, who's going to be hard on me? Nobody's going to care about where I want to go or where I want to take my life. And you probably feel the same way. Like a lot of us, I'm not speaking for everybody, but for myself at least, nobody really cared about where I wanted to go or what I wanted to do. Everybody was trying to change me into something I was not. So I felt like I had to fight for myself. I had to fight for my freedom. I had to fight for my dreams, my ambitions, my goals. And then I had to fight to stay authentic within who I am. And that can be draining, y'all. Like, people don't understand how draining that actually is, doing that for your whole life and trying to, like, get your life together. And, my birthday's in a day, in 2 days, in a day, basically. And I'm not doing anything for my birthday, and I never really do, so it's not really anything new, but it's like, how like when you picture, when people say, what do you want to be when you grow up, and you picture your life and you picture yourself doing certain things. And for some reason, humans, we basically put everything to a timestamp. I'm gonna do this when I'm 5. I'm gonna do this when I'm 6. I'm gonna do this when I'm 7. I'm gonna do this when I'm 17. I'm gonna be this when I'm 18. I'm gonna be here. Like we plan out our lives, right? And I feel like we get our hopes up, not knowing that a plan is just a goal, but it's not a time limit. There's no time limit to the goal. We feel like if we didn't accomplish this, that, and the third by 20 years old, 21 years old, we're not going to make it, or we're not going to amount to anything, or we didn't succeed. And that time limit basically makes you feel like, what's the point after it? Like, if you don't accomplish it when you set yourself to accomplish it, then what else is there for me to do? And that's not really the case. And I'm realizing that, like, there's no time limit to things. Everything happens in divine timing, yes. But the way we structure time and the way we think of time is so different from the universe's time, you know. And I think that we get so focused on other people's success and other people's way of living, whether you are knowing or unknowingly doing it. And it puts like this pressure cooker on you. And I feel like I'm there right now where I'm like, I'm about to be 24. And I don't feel like I accomplished what I wanted to. And that gets me upset because it's like, what was I really even supposed to be accomplishing? I survived so many things that I could barely even think of, you know, at the time. Like, I didn't know I was going to go through all that. And I survived all of it. And same for you, you survived all of it. So you should be proud that you're even where you are right now, regardless of if you're not in the spot you want to be. We take that for granted most of the time because we're so hard on ourselves. We just want what we want, and we're so determined. And it's good to be determined, but it's also a balancing act. Not being too hard to the point where you're stopping yourself from growing, and not being too hard to the point where you're judging others. Not being too nonchalant to the point where you're not goal driven. You know, it's all a balance. But I'm right in the middle right now where it's like I'm aware. And it's annoying when you're aware. People don't tell you awareness is annoying, bro. It really is. Because I feel like when you're aware, you know all this shit. But you still tend to do it to yourself. You still tend to make yourself crazy. You still tend to dwell in your mind. And it's like, why, bro? Like, why are we doing this to ourselves? But I want you guys to know, whoever is watching this, that it's okay to feel stressed. It's okay to feel like you don't know where you're going, bro. Like, I don't know my next move. Like, usually I'm the kind of person where I could set up things to make it work for me and whatever not. And right now I'm at the point where like I ain't got nothing left, bro. I really don't. I don't know the next move. I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing, bro. And it's scary. It really is scary. It's scary to hold on, and then it's also scary to let go. And that's what I mean by the middle. It's like you don't know what the fuck to do. And then I think in my mind, bro, like, if I let go, what does that mean? I don't know what it means. So then it scares me even more because I'm like, I don't know what it means if I let go. Like, what is it? Like, how do I even you know what I mean? How do I even let go? If you're feeling confused right now, it's all a part of the plan. God is always by your side. Sometimes confusion it tells you to sit still, meditate, be one with yourself. You know, when you're confused, you want to panic, and this is not the time to panic. It's the time to reflect on everything you've been through and try to just breathe through all the chaos, you know. And I think this is something that people don't talk about in life, that like you're gonna get to a point where you're at a crossroads. You know, you always go through a crossroads, but you're gonna hit a point in life where you're really at a crossroad. And it's whether you choose to like calm down, you choose to panic. And that makes or breaks you. That's why you see people go through all this trial and tribulation within themselves. When they were supposed to just be calm, they was really panicking. So it's like, when you fall off the boat, it's like when you fall into quicksand, are you gonna keep moving to sink? Or are you just gonna lay there to float? I don't know. Anyway, if you're watching this, thank you for listening to it. Yeah. Bye, guys.